Order online at picassospizza.net.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to this Trainwreck Sports podcast, where we are here to pay the bills. Presented by Picasso's Pizza. Jake Micah, Mike Bunt, AJ Sapolsky. Thursday night. This is back to the old days. We used to be Thursday nights. We're back here on a Thursday night, ready for Chiefs week. We've been locked and loaded. It's been a spirited week, all across Bills Mafia. It's a big game. Nothing less to be said. It's a big game. We're gonna get into all of it. Let's do, I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but let's do some final little cleanup from the Carolina game. Like what was your favorite part of that? What was the biggest takeaway you had, Mike Bunt, from that game that you're still thinking about on Thursday evening, I guess. Yeah, it's getting late now.
Well, I got a few. I'm going to talk a little bit about each side. On the offensive side, it's that the Bills are a run-first team. Like, it's undeniable at this point. You can say Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. He's the MVP, and that when you have a unicorn at quarterback, that you should pass the ball a lot. But right now, the passing game is off. The running game is on. And the more they try to throw the ball, the worse they look offensively. And I'm not going to say that's the strategy against Kansas City because the Chiefs are probably going to try to slow down James Cook. But the Bills, they need to run the ball as much as they can. That's when they're making explosive plays. That's when James Cook is going off. And that's the only takeaway I have on offense. We can talk about what the problems are, what they need to do to fix the passing game, because I do think there are fixes, and I do think the passing game is going to figure things out. But it's undeniable. James Cook right now is the Bills MVP through 7 games this season, and he's the most impactful offensive weapon on the team at the current moment. Number 2, defensively, we saw the pass rush against a weaker offensive line, a less mobile quarterback, and we saw some changes with the defense.
That's a nice way to say it.
Jordan Poyer going to the game did make a difference. Shaq Thompson, who now looks like he's going to probably be out this week, did make a difference. And Maxwell Hairston playing did make a difference. And then Ogunjobi and Hoyt going into the game also made an impact. So we also saw McDermott possibly calling plays. He said he was sharing responsibilities with Bobby Babbitt. It sure looked like McDermott
was a lot of this from McDermott on the
side. A lot more of that than what we've seen in recent times.
Yeah.
So what I would say, reasons to be cautiously optimistic that maybe the defense is figuring a few things out, and offensively, don't want to say identity crisis, but definitely not the identity that Bills fans want for the team. But I could argue that being a good running team might actually be the most beneficial thing for this team when it matters the most.
Yeah, some cautious pessimism for the defense. They went up against Andy Dalton, the 37-year-old veteran who, quite frankly, just isn't. I guess he is a backup caliber player, and he's shown some moments throughout his career. He was a good quarterback, but I just think this Panthers team was due for a stinker, and I think that their offense is just very limited. I mean, Rico Dowdle has been impressive, but again, I think that's if you want to be pessimistic about it. I do like how the Bills defense played. I think that they did show some things. I thought Hoyt looked really good. Ogunjobi was, good in run support. Losing Ed Oliver is probably my biggest takeaway from this game. I know they've been without him at points already this year, but that is just a big loss for a guy that his pass rush win rate and what he's looked at analytically this year from a defensive tackle in terms of pass rushing. He's just been one of the best in the NFL. So that's very unfortunate that they're going to be without him. Hairston, I'm not ready to really make an opinion of if he's looked good or not. He made one really good boundary tackle. He was mixed in, but he wasn't really tested a lot because of the Bills' pass rush was just getting home so quick, so it didn't really matter. So not really much there. I thought Jordan Poyer, Cover One posted, and Mike sent me a clip that I had watched live and was impressed with it. They sent 7. Andy Dalton identified the play pre-snap and did a quick screen to the outside, and Jordan Poyer made a really good play from depth near the goal line to bring the Carolina receiver short. So I thought that was a really nice play from Poyer to show some of his athleticism. Cole Bishop was also solid on that play, really engaging the Carolina wide receiver and making the tackle off the block. Offensively, A lot of the same old, same old. The offense has looked really good when it's been able to run the ball. They were able to run the ball on Sunday against Carolina. James Cook goes for over 200, wins AFC Offensive Player of the Week. So that's always, a good sign that James Cook is getting the accolades along with the numbers. But I still am worried about the bottom 10 wide receiver unit that Bills currently have, especially without Joshua Palmer in there. I think he would help. But overall, hopefully we get to see more snaps from Dalton Kincaid this week. And we'll get to the Bills Chiefs preview, but kind of what Mike said, the run game is what's working. And we've really yet to figure out what this Bills passing offense can do when that run game shut down, because they really have been able to execute at a high level.
It was you mentioned Rico Dowdle. I don't know, like we've had a lot of gambling things going on in sports and everything recently. Deciding that Rico Dowdle, after putting up like 500 yards over a couple different weeks, needs to get put on the bench to get Chuba Hubbard going, made me question what Dave Canales has got going on. Investigation of Dave Canales. I'll say it. I think we got to look there. We got to see what's going on, because that was like we were talking about Dowdle weeks leading up to the game. Maybe he was a little hurt. Maybe he was banged up. I don't know. But just like taking that kind of dynamic player off the field and trying to get Chuba Hubbard going was the best thing that could have happened for the Bills defense. And then Dowdle he had like one nice run. It was great. And Pat Moran posted about it the other day too, just like the speed from Jordan Hancock to catch up to him and make a great tackle. We could have saved a touchdown there. The safety play, as you guys mentioned, with Poyer and Hancock going in and out, Cole Bishop looks more confident. He made a great play at the line on a play that could have broken out a little bit longer too. So the safeties did look a lot better. The biggest takeaway I have, I was in Charlotte at the game. Don't ever underestimate Bills Mafia taking over a city. I've never seen anything like that in my life. It was like a college darty on Saturday, just walking around and just people just drinking all throughout the streets, everything else. And then literally, guys, we're walking into the stadium and there was a band outside. You think the band would be playing like, I don't know what Panthers music is, but they're playing the shout song. Like as Panthers are walking into the state, it's like, it was crazy. And that definitely, whatever effect that fans and that can have on a team and everything else, I can't imagine what it was like for Panthers players looking up in the crowd and hearing that and seeing that. We were talking about it the other day, just like they're playing the Get Loud thing for the Panthers in the stadium and it's silent for the Bills on offense. Like it was just an absurd experience. I thought I was going to see an away game. I did not. So don't underestimate Bills Mafia's ability to take over in some of these areas. But you guys put the nail on the head. I think the safety play was a lot better, where they're going to miss Ed Oliver. He's been extremely effective. I think there was a chart I saw today that he's one of, if not the best defensive tackle in pass rush rate when he in obvious passing situations. So they're going to miss him. But you mentioned Hoyt, AJ, they played him all over the place like we expected to. He was inside, he was outside, he was effective wherever they put him. That was the most encouraging sign to me. But let's transition into it. Let's talk about the offense and what this is going to look like on Sunday as we start getting into a Chiefs week preview here, because the run game, I mean, it's one of the best in the league. James Cook is second in the league in rushing. If Jonathan Taylor is going to run away with that first team All-Pro, but James Cook is primed to be second team, and he won another Offensive Player of the Week award this week at 216 yards. It was, I mean, listen, hand up, I will apologize. All off season, I was getting rather annoyed with James Cook and how much he was going to get paid. I was like, come on, guys. Like, is he going to put up 20 touchdowns and 1,600 yards this year? It's like, yeah, like he actually just might do that. And the offensive line has been great in the run game again. Jackson Hawes, obviously a big addition, but everybody's getting out there and blocking. Like they really have made it a team mentality in the run game. You can tell like that's what you mentioned, Mike. It's not exactly an identity crisis. It's just not the identity we were expecting. They're just a clear smash mouth football team. But the question begs, like, what does that mean when you have the MVP at the reigning MVP at quarterback, who it was bad in the first half. Like it was just a lot of twirling around, a lot of trying to make plays happen where they weren't happening, a lot of missed throws on easy throws, missing guys underneath, taking shots again. And we talked about that going back to that Saints game. Carson and I were harping on it there. Like there were plays starting there where Allen was just starting to press a little bit, and it's increased every single week. Where it was probably his worst performance of the season on Sunday. Like he never looked comfortable. There was no one ever really available to go out and make a play for him, whatever is going on there. Mike, you said there could be some easy adjustments here. What can they do for him? Like with outside of adding a player to this roster, because I don't think we're going to see, Rashid Shaheed's not going to get traded and added to this team this week. Maybe Gabe Davis gets called up this week, maybe not. I know that Cover One said that they don't think it's likely, but I don't know. Outside of those things, what can they do? Like, I mean, if they go in with that crew who they had last week out there.
Well, if it's the same crew as last week, they just have to keep running the ball. Like it is what it is. Like, see, like here's the thing that like I struggle with. Like, I get it. Josh Allen is an MVP quarterback. He's phenomenal. You should have a great passing attack when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen. But right now, they don't. And you can say like, oh, they should be better. Like, they need to be better. Like Joe Brady didn't just suddenly forget how to scheme people open. Like they didn't, like, this is what they are. They're a smash mouth running football team right now. They have an amazing offensive line that does most of the time pass protect pretty well. But right now they're making huge holes for James Cook. He's not getting contacted. And then when he does have to do something, he is finding a way to elude guys, break tackles, and deliver explosive plays. And we talked about it the last week's show too. Like, what do you have to do more in the passing game? Well, you have to do more of the wide receiver screens. You have to go more horizontal, because if you're not going to spread it out vertical because you don't have the guys, then you have to go more horizontal to at least get people outside the box and take you seriously. And what did that bring? It brought a 64-yard touchdown run, a 21-yard touchdown run, and a 54-yard touchdown pass where you threw it 10 yards in the air. I think fans get obsessed with the vertical passing game because that's sexy, it's fun, and it's exciting, and you have a strong arm quarterback. The facts are right now, the Bills don't have the necessary offensive weapons to bring that style of game right now. And another fact that fans don't want to hear, but it is partially the truth, is that the vertical passing game deep downfield, I'm talking deep shots, not the intermediate, has never been one of Josh Allen's strengths to begin with. Yeah. And it's like what fans think the Bills are, they really haven't been that in a long, long time. I think fans still have thoughts like the Bills are the Brian Dable Bills. They're not that. Like, they haven't been that for a long time. They certainly have not been that under Joe Brady, and they weren't doing that under Ken Dorsey either. From the time Ken Dorsey took over, it was a lot of quick hitters and other stuff like that too. And Josh had periods where he struggled with that. And then he did have higher turnover numbers with that. So I think unless you get like a true number one receiver for Josh Allen, I think he's going to have some struggles with certain things, because this is another component of it too. We say, well, they need a vertical threat. Well, Elijah Moore is one of the fastest guys you'll see on a football field. Curtis Samuel is a really fast guy. So if the Bills have these fast guys and it doesn't make a difference, vertical passing, what really is going to make the difference? I think that's why their answer was like, oh, let's get a big guy like Keon Coleman, just throw it up to him. But that's not the answer too, because we've seen it for the last year and a half. It just doesn't work with Josh Allen. And that is trending towards a bust, even if there might be other ways you can use him. So I think what I'm laughing when I say this, because Bills Mafia is going to hate me for saying this. I really do think Gabe Davis has a chance to like be what they need. Like, it sounds so funny because he went from like being this future star to this overrated number 2. But like, if Gabe Davis is like your number 4 receiver, like that might be good for the Bills. Like, you could then maybe spread out a little bit. And if you have Gabe Davis and Josh Palmer, you at least have 2 guys that can go vertical that Josh Allen trusts, and then mix in Shakir. And then you could still have a gadget guy if you want Moore or Samuel. And you can make things happen that way. Like you said, like Shaheed, will that happen? Probably not, but it's a fun idea. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to rely on running the ball. And against Kansas City, that's probably a smart strategy, because the Chiefs' offense is dominating lately. They are going off. And do we really trust the Bills defense to get a ton of stops against them? The Bills are going to have to do what other teams typically do against the Bills to probably beat Kansas City. And that's run the ball effectively, keep Mahomes off the field, be efficient when you are having the ball on offense, and hope that you get a takeaway or two, or you get a couple stops in timely situations. And the last point I will say about the offense, everybody's making this like all about the receivers. And I am not going to I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree with the offensive line is very weak. Almost every metric disagrees with that. Josh Allen gets almost more time to throw than any other quarterback in the league. He gets 2.9 seconds, which is a lot of time. And a lot of the sacks are misdiagnosed blitzes and sometimes communication errors, which, as Carson would say if he was on the show who played quarterback, a lot of that, some of that is on the center for getting in the right protections, but some of that is the quarterback. So Josh Allen also needs to get them in better protections at times. And then I'll say this. Joe Brady needs to scheme some better things, but Joe Brady also schemed up the greatest college offense in the history of college football. Like, the
to
dude
be fair, he also had two of the best
those
receivers.
players were not
in all
known
football.
commodities at that time. Joe Burrow
That's
entered that year as a 5th-round pick. Jamar Chase had like 30 catches the year before that. They all went off that single season. And yes, they're all amazing talents. But what I would say is this. Joe Brady needs to scheme a little better. The offensive line needs to protect a little better. The receivers need to get a little bit more open. But Josh Allen also has to make throws when there's guys open. They also have to try to go vertical a little bit more. And then when they don't, he needs to take the easy button things, because Jake, you've watched the film. Cover One has watched the film. One of the most obvious things the last 4 weeks is he's not making the easy throws. He's not taking what's given to him at all times. And the few times he is taking what's given to him, sometimes he's not putting it where it needs to be. Ray Davis had an opportunity to get 5 yards on a 2nd down and 10, and he makes him dive for it, incomplete. There's times Coleman was open a few times. No, everybody is off a little bit in the passing game right now, and it adds up to being a bigger impact, especially when Palmer and Kincaid are off the field. Get those two guys back, scheme a little bit better. Josh Allen bounces back. This offense will be fine passing the ball.
So what, Jake? What was your original question? Sorry.
My original question was what can they do without adding anybody to this offense? Like we're not talking about like weeks beyond this. Like going into this Chiefs game, what adjustments can they make to get this passing game going, or is there anything to make at this point?
So Mike's answer was just to run the ball more, right?
Yes.
No, it's not just run the ball. Like this week you're going to have to run the ball, like, because I don't know if you're going to have Palmer. And I don't know if you can rely on Keon Coleman. You're going to have to run the ball.
You can't rely on Keon Coleman. Let's just say that.
You're going to have to run the ball and rely on easy buttons. But as the season goes on, yeah, you're going to need Kincaid and Palmer to be healthy. And you probably, at some point, need Gabe Davis to be the number 4 receiver.
It would be nice if Dawson Knox could pitch in with these 2 tight end sets and run some routes. But anyways, go ahead, AJ.
That ain't happening either. So I think with the only way, I think you look around and it's a lot of respectable people are saying different things. Like Steve Smith's comments about Keon, pretty crazy. If you're not on Twitter, it's been a pretty big storyline this week going into Kansas City. Keon Coleman responded to this comment by Steve Smith with 4 laughing emojis. But Steve Smith had said that about Keon Coleman. Steve Smith's the former great Carolina Panthers wide receiver on his podcast. Keon Coleman is a bust. That's the title. He ain't the guy. Can't get separation. Can't get off the jam. Doesn't have it. You can't teach your dog how to bark. You either got it or you don't. So, like, in that retrospect, like, okay, you're forcing a guy who I think many at this point don't think he has it to be, an NFL wide receiver in terms of like a high volume, reception guy that does better with more targets. I don't think he's that type of guy. So I think that's, one of the issues with this offense is I do not think they have the weapons on the outside. And I know that there's pushback to that all the time with people that watch the film. I get it, but I don't care. I don't think that they have the ability on the outside to win in a multitude of ways, whether that's short, intermediate, or deep. That's the first thing. Secondly, I think there is an offensive line issue going on this year where they are not going into games prepared, and teams have had a year of Joe Brady film where they're now diagnosing what the Bills offensive line likes to do, and they are finding better ways to get pressure on Josh Allen. So I think that's the second thing. I know Allen has a lot of time to throw, but that's a lot of Josh Allen scrambling around and, making plays longer. So that kind of skews those numbers a little bit. 3, Josh Allen has to be better as well in terms of just being more comfortable. I don't know if Mike mentioned it already, but he said like after last week's game that he just wasn't comfortable in the pocket, and he was being very critical of himself as what he's doing. So I think there's a lot of ways to look at it. Obviously, your bread and butter right now is running with James Cook and what they have. Dan Orlovsky said that it was probably one of the best zone blocking experiences he's seen from an O-line that he's ever watched, like how good they were blocking against Carolina. So the thing with this is if they go into Kansas City, Gabe Davis isn't going to be the savior. Sorry, but he's not. So you go into Kansas City, you have Elijah Moore, who, again, he's quick, but he's never been able to win down the field in his NFL career. If you look at his numbers, I just did while Mike was talking. Same thing with Curtis Samuel. He's never been a guy that's won down the field in his career. He's always been like a short, intermediate slot gadget guy that would win underneath and use his speed to get yards after the catch. That's what they've been known for, both those guys. And then Terrell Shaver is really a guy that, what is he? He's a guy that had a really good preseason, probably deserved a roster spot. And if you scheme some things open to him, he can execute it. And he's a plus blocker and special teamer. But is he a guy you can rely on, really, in the big moments? No. And then back to Keon, who at this point has just been totally absent after week 1, in my opinion. So that's really what you're working with, right? And then a Dalton Kincaid, he's really your best pass catcher, and I think he's having a good year. So I think you're going to have to lean on the run, like Mike said, and you're just going to have to hope that all of that minuscule stuff, Josh Allen being better, the offensive line understanding protection better, Josh getting them in the right, looks pre-snap, the pass catchers getting open, them being on the same page. There's been a lot of miscommunication this year. I feel like me and Jay talked about that this week, I think, in the group chat, but a lot of miscommunication between the receiver and what Allen's doing with the ball. I think they just all need to get on the same page. Cover one's talked about all the time, like players not doing the right thing during a play or blocking instead of running a route or vice versa. So I think there's just been a lot of just little things, and it can be fixed. But I do worry that just the lack of talent on the outside is going to haunt this team down the stretch. And I get it. They can run the ball. That's great. That's a very important thing, but you're going to need it. Your defense is allowed. If you go against the Kansas City Chiefs, your defense is allowed 34 points a game against the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs over the last 5 years in their 4 playoff matchups. So you're going to have to throw the ball. You're going to have to. The Chiefs are going to score. They have now one of the most explosive offenses in the league. They average 10 more points per game with Rice and Worthy in the lineup than they did without him. So a major difference to what they're doing offensively, what they've opened up. Kelsey's playing well. So you're going to have to score points. But this week, run the ball, try and, utilize guys in different ways. There is an answer. I need to see it first, but it's hard to know the answer when I don't really know what they can do with it. And these guys really haven't shown me anything on the outside and, offensive line struggle, everything. I need to see it first before I really have an answer.
Go ahead, bud.
I just get so frustrated with the receiver conversation because I'll acknowledge that the receivers aren't good and that this group without Palmer and Kincaid is not even it's a really bad unit when they're missing those two guys. I think with Palmer and Kincaid, the unit is not great, but I think it's okay. My issues are
with Kincaid, the wide receiver unit
Palmer
slightly below average.
Palmer,
but with just Palmer, they're still bottom 10 in my.
But
Palmer at least pulled attention away from guys.
Yes,
Kincaid. Go ahead.
Josh Allen with Palmer and Kincaid shouldn't have issues. He really shouldn't. No, you can laugh, AJ, but let's be real. If Patrick Mahomes was playing with crap stuff, you'd still expect them to go to the Super Bowl. It's one of those things where you can acknowledge the receivers aren't good enough, but how were the receivers last year? He had an MVP season last year. So the only thing that's different is how they're executing the pass game this year. You go one by one. Keon last year wasn't the number one receiver. Like he got like 27, 28 catches, but like you had Mac Hollins.
Oh, you're not about last year.
You had a washed up Amari Cooper. Khalil Shakir is an above average slot receiver. Dalton Kincaid, based on when he was healthy, is an above average pass catching tight end. You have Josh Palmer, who's at least an average wide receiver 3. So you're good at number 2, you're good at number 3, and then at number 4 or 5, you're talking about Moore and Samuel, who have been productive players in the NFL. Like they should not be below average for 4 and 5 receivers. They're more of a gadget role, which is why they struggle. But like most 4 or 5 receivers aren't putting up more than like 20 catches, 25 catches. And
why did they pay Curtis Samuel that money?
Because they wanted him to be a bigger role. It just didn't. It hasn't panned out the way they wanted to.
Yeah, he's gonna be at like 16 million for like 40 catches.
But this is part of
that was Florio, yeah.
But this is part of the point. Yes, some of it is probably Samuel, but some of it is also probably how they use Samuel, and some of it is also how many times have the Bills struggled to implement short passing gadget guys with Josh Allen at quarterback. How much of the Bills? Why don't the Bills do screen passes to running backs? Because there's certain things within the Bills' offense that are weak.
They're short gadget.
Why did teams in the past not really blitz Allen much? Because he would destroy them.
Well, he used to destroy them. Yeah, this year he has not. That's been a big thing too.
Things that play in. Like John, we're obviously struggling on offense because we lack a number 1 receiver and somebody on the boundary that's outside. But you can't use that as the only excuse when literally they had their most efficient season in team history last year with a similar group of guys. They had the same offensive line. They had the same tight ends. They had the same tight ends. In fact, Kincaid was playing hurt. And wide receiver wise, it's the same. It's basically similar level receivers to what they had last year. But last year, they executed at a way higher level. So that's where
the issue. More passing yards this year than last year.
What was that?
Allen's on pace for more passing yards this year.
No, I understand. But what I'm trying to say is we're fixated on the passing game when the reality is this might just be a simple Palmer and Kincaid are simultaneously hurt at the same time, and the offense can't withstand the loss of 2 guys that are vital to their passing game. Like I don't want to go crazy, but the Patriots game, Josh Allen had 6 plays over 20-yard passing. And it wasn't even his best game, but he had they had good passing throughout the game. The Bills entered this week number 2 in the NFL in explosive passing rate. Yeah, there's things that are off, but if you're number 2 in the league in explosive passing rate, there's things that are on too. The only thing this Bills offense lacks right now is a vertical passing game downfield. And we already have the numbers. When they had Diggs, his last season in Buffalo, they went 8 of 30 for 850 plus. Then when they lost Diggs and they lost Gabe Davis and they had Mac Hollins and guys like that and Keon last year, they went 8 of 29 for about 815, 820 yards. So literally, they lost their best number 1 receiver and they lost another guy. And the stats were nearly identical minus the turnovers. The fact of it is this. Defenses adjusted to what the Bills do. They need a better boundary receiver, but this is not as extreme of a thing as what most people are making it out to be. Josh Palmer played a role because he would help open things up for guys like Kincaid. All of these guys work together. The truth of the matter is Elijah Moore and Curtis Samuel are pretty bad receivers, which I told most of you guys that before the season. I know you guys aren't disagreeing with me, but this team does not have – they don't have the ability to withstand losses to pivotal people in their passing game right now. And people want to say it's about offensive line. The metrics just don't back it up. This offensive line is a good unit. They might not be pass protecting as good as they did last year, but some of that is also misdiagnosing things. And if I'm going to be real too, Josh hasn't been trusting his eyes and he hasn't been trusting his feet. He admitted to such after the game last week. He said he's not trusting his feet. And that doesn't just mean I'm not scrambling good. It means I'm not getting in position to make the throws I need to make. I'm not trusting what I need to do. Lindy Ruff the other day with the Sabres game when they got off to a slow start against Columbus. He said, we didn't trust our feet. People are like, what did that mean? He's like, well, we were sloppy with our passing. We weren't doing the things that we needed to do to get ourselves in a position to make the plays we needed to play. When Josh is talking about his feet, he's basically saying that mentally he is not ready for what he's seeing. He's not trusting what he's supposed to be doing. And
he's reacting. Yeah. It's old Josh
playing football. Yeah. And to me, nobody wants to say the quiet part out loud, although more people are saying it lately. Josh at that quote is basically saying, I am not playing good football. I am not doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. When there's a guy open here and it's a snap 1, 2, 3 throw, he's not getting that throw off.
Do you think it's also a bit of PR though? Like, do you think that Sabres just scored? Do you think that it's a little bit of like what's Josh going to say? Like, he's always been the guy to take.
I think Josh is
like, yeah, you know.
I think in the past, this is what I'll say. In the past, Josh Allen might have been like 2% of the problem, and you could say like receivers were dropping things or offensive line didn't protect him. I think Josh is at least like 10 to 15% of the problem right now.
That's fine.
I think that's fair. And you know what bothers me the most is that and I think you mentioned the PR part of it, because I remember hearing like it was Sal before the season started and going into the Ravens game talking about how, one of the things I talked to Josh Allen about leading up to this year was what I wanted to improve on the most was diagnosing defenses, and what I wanted more responsibility at the line to be able to call my checks and all that other like everything that he could do at the line, the next evolution, like be more like Mahomes, handle that, be more like these elite quarterbacks that we've seen in years past that can just find the answers before the play even happens. So my theory is that they gave him that power, they gave him that responsibility, and what has he done with it? He didn't do it. He hasn't learned.
I hate to say it,
he did not actually do it.
It's the truth, and nobody wants to talk that way because the Bills' offense is amazing, and Josh Allen is the reason why it is amazing. But I have been saying this for several years now. The margins in these games are sometimes what's up here. Josh is the most talented, most athletically gifted quarterback maybe in the history of the NFL in terms of strength, power, running ability, speed, arm, like everything. But he is not the smartest quarterback in the league, and he does not play within the offense. When the Bills struggle, it's a lot of times you can diagnose it, and a lot of times it's Josh not playing within the offense. And people don't say it because Bills fans will kill you about it. But Peyton Manning plays does what the Colts want him to do, what the Broncos wanted him to do. Joe Burrow plays within what the Bengals want him to do. Like here's what the truth of it is. When you watch high school football and you watch college football, there's some quarterbacks that are just freaks. You know they don't have a damn clue what they're doing out there. Like, they're just going off of instinct. They're running, they're throwing bombs down the field. Like, I'm not saying that like Josh Allen is that guy, but a lot of what Josh Allen does is improvising, and it's throwing darts in intermediate fields. Without that level of talent to where he can throw those intermediate darts downfield, when you ask him to play within an offense and do a game manager role, you're going to have inconsistent results. You might have it like last year where it went great, but now you're having it like this year where it's not. Like the fact of it is, and Jake, I think you would agree with it. The way Josh Allen wants to play is he wants to play free. He wants to take chances downfield, and he wants to keep plays available. What he's struggling right now is everybody for 4 weeks told him that he can't throw a goddamn ball down the field. And now he's trying to make plays downfield rather than take the goddamn play in front of him. And we talk about these narratives and we're like, oh, this is what you got to do. The narratives get in his head. Like Josh Allen is at his best when he just zones out, when he doesn't give a crap about what the narratives are. Like this offense, for all intents and purposes, is a short passing run team with Josh Allen as a game manager. And that can sound like the dumbest thing in the world, but it is what it is right now. And if they try to go downfield consistently, Josh Allen's going to get sacked, and it's going to be bad because what we're already seeing examples right now. The Patriots game, he goes out of a clean pocket and misses a guy that would have been a touchdown that would have taken the lead. The play before that, he rolls to the right. The play before, a couple plays earlier, rolls to the left, tries to throw it up to James Cook. Then you go to the next week against Atlanta. Did not trust the line. He was confused. He said after the game that Atlanta was throwing man defense on him throughout. Atlanta was in zone like 86% of the time. And so Josh had no idea what he was even facing in that game. And then you talk about this Carolina game early, misses a wide open Elijah Moore, misses other people that are open underneath. Like, sometimes it's really simple. Like, if your running game is running for 11 yards a carry and your running back is unstoppable, yet you still can't get open guys and you still can't throw the ball for completions, that's not just the quarterback. Because if the team is allowing 11 yards per carry against you, that means you should have some plays in the passing game open to you. So they either just went all out to stop the pass, which would have been stupid for Carolina after allowing 19 carries for 200 plus yards. But there are plays out there. And Josh is
add real quick to this conversation or not?
I'll finish my point right now. Josh is very rhythm oriented. He's either really hot at times, but sometimes he can get cold. And Josh is a world-class quarterback. I still think he's the best QB in the league. But we have to acknowledge right now, this is in his head. It's in his head right now. He's struggling. The receivers certainly don't help with the problem. But there's only one way this gets back on track. He needs to start trusting the elements of the offense, or he's going to continue to struggle because these receivers are not good enough for him to go off script. And if off script is the first thing that Allen thinks about doing all the time, he is not going to get it done. So he has one option. Trust what Joe Brady is telling you, or this offense is going to continue to suck throwing the ball.
All right. I want to push back on something you said about the Bills trying to push the ball down the field more the last few weeks. So week 1 against Baltimore.
Throwing the ball more downfield. I'm saying when you have 2.9 seconds to throw, that's not just scrambling the ball, AJ. I hate to say that to you, man.
No, it's not just that, but that is.
But there's also there's numbers that also show his pocket time. And his pocket time is also way above. There's film that shows him leaving the pocket early, clean pockets. Like some of these sacks he gets sacked on are because he leaves a pocket and runs into the pressure. He is misdiagnosing things. Like he's still world class, but know what we're used to seeing Josh Allen EPA? He's normally number 1, 2, or 3. He's like number 10 this year. So he's still above average. But if you take away the Baltimore game, if you take away some of those early season games, Josh Allen has been at best an average quarterback over the last 3 weeks. The numbers, the metrics say he's playing not good football. And I know fans want to make every excuse for him, but if this was a quarterback of any other team in the league, even with a bad receiving core, you would say he's slumping. And it's okay. The Bills scored 40 points in a game that he didn't look great. That's why you should lean on the run game more, because I don't know if he's going to pass out of it with the lack of weapons he has right now.
Yeah. AJ, what were you going to say about downfield?
Yeah, so regardless. So you said Josh Allen's at his best when he's throwing the ball down the field. In his opinion, that's what you think, when he's making plays. So
intermediate, the 10 to 20 range. That's when Josh is at his best.
Okay, regardless. The last 3 weeks, Josh Allen has not attempted a throw over 20 plus air yards. 0 against Carolina, 0 against the Jets, 0 against Miami. So in the last 3 weeks, this offense has not attempted one 20-plus yard air throw.
How long was the one to Moore?
What do you mean?
The throw to Moore was around 20 yards.
Well, on this, according to my AI Sumner brain beta.
I mean, they might be missing that. That throw was if it wasn't 20, it was 19.
Anyway, because against Baltimore, it says 8 attempts. New Orleans 5 attempts, Atlanta 4 attempts, New England 3 attempts, and then it's been 0 the last 3 weeks. So regardless, they missed the throw to Elijah Moore. Regardless, they're not even attempting to do it. So I guess is he playing in script and it's just not working? Is he not finding the open person? Is there just nobody open? What?
I don't think he trusts Keon. He doesn't trust Keon. If you have Keon, you got to. This is a simple fact, and this is the thing that boggles my mind when we talk about Keon Coleman. We knew he wasn't a separator when we drafted him.
Yep.
So he wasn't going to separate in college. He's not going to separate in the pros. So if you have him as your number one receiver, this whole like he doesn't get separation. Well, no shit. No shit, he doesn't get separation. Like, so it comes down to this. Are you going to throw the ball to him and give him a chance, or are you not going to throw the ball? And if you're not going to throw the ball and give him a chance, then there is no point having him on the team, which tells me that Josh has lost his faith in Keon, which is why this offense can't throw the ball, because you either have to force it or you don't have a receiver.
Well, that's my biggest issue with the way Allen is playing now, because I do think there are and I sat end to end for this game, and every offensive, any passing play, I'm just looking at at receivers going out. I didn't care. I was not paying as much attention to, like, I saw more of the Allen sacks and the scrambles around after watching the game back than I did, because I was really trying to focus on what is downfield. At quarterback, there is a certain level of risk element that you have to put into your game to be an elite quarterback. Like, there has to be, and there's been so many of these quarterback gurus that talk about it, is that there's a certain point that you, like, not taking any chances is more harmful than taking a chance to feed a ball into a window or to a guy who's kind of contested down the field, because you have to add that element into your offense. And so, yeah, he doesn't trust Keon. I think that's blatantly clear at this point, that he does not trust Keon, but that's the guy they're sending out there. And that's the guy that they're putting out there on those routes to do that. That's the guy they're counting on to do it.
If they talk about it, right, like straight to your point, like if Joe Brady and Josh Allen are communicating during the week for a game plan, then why, like, if Josh doesn't trust Keon, unless he's just afraid to, I don't think it's like a during the week thing that he's not trusting it. I think it's in the moment. Yeah.
He's been preached so much about not turning the ball over.
Is that becoming a negative?
Yes,
I think so, because you have to have a level of risk. Like, Mahomes is going to take chances. He might throw 2 picks against the Bills, but he's going to be willing to take chances down the field just to do it, just because he knows he has to do it in this game. I think that it's a little bit of competing, because what made, and you've mentioned it a couple times tonight, but like, it's an MVP quarterback. There hasn't been a lot that changed in this passing offense, like personnel wise, everything else. What did we talk about all last year? They turned Josh Allen into an efficiency monster. He became just so incredibly efficient. The EPA numbers through the roof. The offense just through the roof efficient. They're just dominating teams in balanced offense. Everything else, he's gotten tired of it. He clearly, after the first couple of weeks, he's gotten sick of it. But now it's like, okay, I'm sick of it. And I don't want to take this easy stuff, but I also don't want to turn the ball over and go deep down the field. So I'm lost. Like, I'm just out here reacting because I'm not taking the early thing. And then I'm scrambling out and wanting to take my deep shot, but I'm too afraid to take the deep shot when I'm scrambling because I don't trust the guy down the field to make a play. Go ahead.
The throw to Moore was 15 yards, air yards.
So okay. This is what they got to do. This is what you got to do if you're the Bills right now and you're thinking this all out, because McDermott obviously recognizes it's hurting them, and he wants the passing game to come back a little bit more. You have with Josh Allen, I don't think there's middle grounds, unfortunately. I think a lot of quarterbacks there is more of a middle ground. I think the way Josh works, he's either Brett Favre or he's the other side. Like, this is why this conversation's tough with Bills fans, because he won an MVP because he turned into like Case Keenum last year, like where he's throwing the ball, he's making the easy throws, and they're efficient. They're not turning it over, and the Bills are winning all these games, scoring 30+ points a game because they're not making mistakes. So the Bills are like, okay, we found a winning strategy. All we have to do is protect the ball, rely on the run game, and then the few moments we need superhuman Josh, we'll get it from him, and we'll be great. The problem is teams have adjusted, and now the biggest thing isn't even the adjustments that teams have made. It's that Josh Allen isn't playing within it anymore. And that's the point Jake makes. If Josh Allen is not going to be doing everything within the offense, then you have to change the offense. The problem is we're already halfway through the season. So that's not like something you can just change on the fly. And they don't have the personnel to change it because they built the offense and the players around trying to be this efficiency machine. So this is what you got to do. You got 2 answers. You can try to go back to more of an intermediate passing game, more of a deep shot passing game. And you know what? They'll probably make some plays. Like, because as bad as these receivers are, let's be real. You could be the worst team in the league. If you throw the ball 35 times a game, you're going to hit some explosive plays. You're going to hit some plays eventually. So the fact of it is this. If the Bills wanted to get more downfield passing, they could. But they're going to have to take more risks. And some of those might turn into a 30-yard catch. Some of them might turn into a critical turnover that leads to your opponent getting the ball in good field position against your defense and having a game-winning touchdown. Like, this is why it's a tough conversation, because yes, they have neutered Josh, but them neutering Josh led to their most productive regular season stretch in the entire franchise since the 1990s. So on one end, you're neutering your all-pro MVP quarterback. On another end, you're winning at a higher rate than you ever did when you were letting your all-pro MVP quarterback throw it away. So like you got two.
What's the difference there though? What's the margin? They were still winning at a very high rate when they were letting him be his all-pro.
Fair.
Like what's the margin there?
But you look at it, they lost. So the 1 year they win the last 5 in a row, and then they go 13-3 last year before losing against New England with Josh not playing. That means in a 21 game stretch of regular season football, they went 18-3. People hate it, but the efficiency model was working at a higher rate than the other model. And they also scored 30-plus points in like 15 out of 19 games. Every single offensive number was better when they neutered him than when they were letting him play free. The only reason why, because when they were playing free, they were turning the ball about 1.5 times, 2 times a game. Like not 2 times a game, but like they were like Josh Allen had 18 interceptions the 1 year. Then you factor in fumbles. They were literally losing games where they were just giving it away to teams. So basically the Bills said, we're not going to beat ourselves anymore. And they also look at it as like this. Think about it from salary cap allocation. You're paying your quarterback over $55 million a year. Your defense stinks, so you're trying to improve your defense. You don't have all the money to pay a number one receiver $30+ million, and they were eating dead cap on Stephon Diggs last year. So basically they went into last year and they were like, we don't have the money in free agency to get in a big weapon. How can we get by with lesser talent? Can Allen elevate the talent? And he did. So they doubled down on it this offseason because they were basically like, hey, we don't need a $30 million receiver because we just showed that we can win without these guys. So they get Palmer on a cheaper investment. Yeah, and then fans now are like, well, they suck. Well, they did that because he showed he can carry them. But when he's not going to play within it as much, that's the biggest thing that changed. And also, Palmer, when you have a team with marginal weapons, you can't lose the few weapons that you actually have. Yeah, like they're a bottom 10 receiving core. Yeah, they might be a bottom 10 receiving core, but with Josh Palmer and Dalton Kincaid out, they are the 32nd ranked group of weapons. There's a big difference between being the 24th or 25th group versus being the 32nd. I agree with that. Josh Allen with the 23rd, 24th, 25th group can put up 240 yards passing a game and can lead them to 30 points. Josh Allen with the 32nd ranked receiver group reverts back to like 2019 Josh Allen.
Like, and we didn't like the comment. We didn't like the comment from Brady the other day, but if you're Joe Brady, it's like, okay, like am I going to break this elite rushing attack that I have and that I've built just to try to, find fixes for an offense that's limited passing? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it is. I do think the personnel, like, whether it will hinder them from winning a Super Bowl or not still remains to be seen, and how they'll do in the playoffs and everything. But I think that the personnel is why Brady won't adjust as much as anything, because he's like, listen, like, if my running back's going to get 215 yards a game and has that ability, like, I'm not breaking that just so I can maybe get, Keon Coleman 30 more yards or get 2 more passes down the, like, it's the trade-off where I understand, like, the difficulty of trying to build that offense with what they have right now, because if you trade off losing the one thing you do, like, what do the Bills do? Like, right now, if you're just looking at the Bills holistically, what is their one elite trait? It's James Cook. It's them running the ball. So are you going to risk affecting that negatively to try to pick up in other places offensively, like, just because you have Josh Allen as the talent? Like, so that's me playing devil's advocate, because I still think that they need to add a level of risk profile to this passing game to be able to do what they need to do. But also I see why if you're Joe Brady scheming every week, you're like, well, shit, I'm not going to fuck up this running game. Like why would I do that? Like what, like James Cook is the second leading rusher in the league. Like why would I take that away from him? He's going better than, mostly anybody else. So it's just, it's a difficult spot because with the personnel, they don't. That's why I prefaced this question, and we got a good conversation out of it. That's why I prefaced it without making a change, because they're going into this game this week, and the first three receiver set they run out there is going to be Keon Coleman, Elijah Moore, and Khalil Shakir, and that's just what it's going to be. And like,
what is the Bills' best chance of competing with the Chiefs right now? Going in a shootout or trying to run clock?
Your defense.
You're getting ahead of my prediction.
No. What I'm saying, AJ,
I think happens in this game.
The best thing for the Bills defense is for the offense to be out on the field. Like at this point in time, Bills, like, this is the crazy thing about football. You have all these teams, like, you need to be able to pass the ball. Like, certainly, I agree. Like, the great quarterbacks win championships. But in the playoffs, you need a run game, because that is what lets you chew up clock. That's what lets your defense stay off the field. Like, we always say that the Bills' defense doesn't get done in the playoffs. Well, what if the Bills go on 7-minute drives against Kansas City in the playoffs, and it ends up being a 20-17 type game or a 24-21 type game? Like, you'll have less margin. Like, here's the thing. You'll have fewer possessions, and you'll have to be efficient when you do have the ball, but you'll also give Kansas City less possessions. Like, I just think that running the ball is something that this team needs to be able to do to win when it matters the most. Everybody talks about, well, you got to have a firepower offense. Like, what is the weather like in Buffalo in January? It's 15 degrees with 25-mile-per-hour winds and snow. Like, yeah, Josh Allen can throw in that, but there's sometimes you don't even have the ability to throw it in it. And, like, I just think we're a little crazy with some of the things that we're stating, like, at times. Like, people forget, like, Tom Brady won championships because the Patriots always had the ability to run the ball in big moments. Like, the Patriots were a good running team.
And a great defense.
And great defense.
We missed that part, but the running part we've got.
But, like, the Chiefs took it to the next level when Pacheco started being a real threat for them. And last year, Pacheco wasn't that great, and the Chiefs had a little bit of a drop.
And Hunt at the start of it too. Like, Hunt was on top of the world, like one of the best running backs in the league.
The run game's better because Rice and Worthy are in the lineup. But
It all comes. People hate this. No, not people. Radio hosts, sports anchors, and newspaper writers. What I'm trying to think of the word. I can't even think about it right now. Complimentary football. Like, complimentary football is a real thing. Anybody that has played football at any level knows it's a real thing. Anybody that's coached football knows it's a real thing. The only people that think it's not a real thing are the people that talk about football on TV and the radio and write about it in the newspaper that have never done one thing with football in their life.
But they're not playing complimentary football right now, though.
That's what they need to get to. Like, that's the reason why the running 100%. Game. Yeah. That's why the running game matters. Like, why did the Bills lose the games against New England and I'll say lesser extent Atlanta? They lost to New England because they turned the ball over 3 times.
And Cook ran for 49 yards in that game.
The Bills defense, like, we talk so much about the Bills defense not being good enough. In the last 6 games, they're allowing 17.5 points a game. Like, during their years where they had Poyer
and there's regular season, man.
No. What I'm trying to say is this. The years where they were the number 1, number 2, like, defenses in the NFL, they allowed 17 points a game. So the last 6 games, they're allowing basically the same points per game as they did when they were a top 3 defense in the NFL. So even when this team metrically is not good with takeaways, metrically is not good in EPA, metrically is not good in rushing defense, they're still holding teams to about the same amount of points per game, granted bad offenses, as they did in other years. So that is something to take.
You got to beat the bad offenses, though. You still got to do it.
No, you're right. But, like, at the end of the day, it comes down to this. They need to find a little bit more of a middle ground. I think, based on McDermott's quotes, they're aware of that if they need to get to that level. But they're still scoring 40 points in a game where Josh Allen did absolutely nothing for them. So, like, you should be encouraged that this run game is good enough to get them by, even when things aren't going in the pass game, because they will get Josh Palmer back at some point. They will have Dalton Kincaid get healthier at one point. And I think when those two are on the field, you're going to see a little bit better results. And you're going to have to eventually show some faith in Keon Coleman. If they don't start throwing the ball to Keon in at least some like one-on-one, like contested catch situations, you might as well just.
Why is he out there? Yeah, why is he out there?
Yeah, at that point, just make Gabe Davis in that role. And you know what? Gabe can't be anywhere.
Mike's going to always come back around to Gabe Davis. That's for sure. And also, defensively.
Yeah, he's not a wide receiver 2. He's a wide receiver 1.
And defensively, the biggest thing from this game, like you get to 40 points without Josh playing well because the defense they got turnovers in this game. They get a turnover on Andy Dalton going into the red zone. They get the Epinesa sack. If the defensive line can create some havoc, and we know that, Oliver missing is going to be a huge thing, but getting Hoyt and Ogunjobi back was clearly a huge deal for them. The secondary looked better with Poyer and Hancock playing instead of Rapp. If they can start making turnovers happen defensively, you get some short field. That's one thing that we didn't talk about a lot that's been underrated. The Bills are getting killed in field position a lot in a lot of these games too. Like the Atlanta game, they lost field position battle. The New England game, they lost field position battle. You start getting those turnovers back into the game defensively, you start getting some short fields for the offense, then it's pretty easy to start racking up 40 points. But let's get into our predictions. Let's get into it. And I'm going to start. I think you kind of jumped into it, Mike, and so I tried to stop you there because I think you're exactly right. What do the Bills do to this game? Win this game? We're gonna need 9-minute drive, 14 plays, 75 yards. This is going to be old-fashioned smash mouth football, I think, from the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills win the time of possession battle is what they're going to try to do. Keep Mahomes off the field, help your defense, and run the ball right at this Chiefs team. Hold on to the ball, shorten the game, shorten the possessions. That's the way that they get this done. If they get into AJ, like I said, if they get into a track meet with this team, there's nothing they can do. If this game gets to 30 points, I would pick the Chiefs. So I don't think you let it get to a chance to get to 30 points. I'm picking the Bills, and I'm picking them to win 23-20 in this game. In a low-scoring, ugly game. I think both quarterbacks have a couple picks. I think it's going to be – I really don't expect a lot of fireworks. I think the Bills will make this game will be played at the Bills' pace, and the Bills' pace in this game will be to slug it out with the Chiefs rather than get into a track meet unlike years past. And I think they're able to do it, get the home field advantage a little bit, 23-20, and who knows what we're feeling like after that, depending on the stat lines from the quarterbacks.
I'll let you go second, AJ.
I want you. Okay. I'm going to go against what Jake said. I think the Bills do in a shootout. So here's the thing. I think that this game, and we go into it every year, and I think last year they were missing a bunch of guys. I think that Milano was out, Brown was out, a couple other key places or pieces on their roster. And really, the Chiefs were playing well. They were playing good football. They were playing better. And, the Bills won. And it was a regular season matchup. I think the Bills are going to be ready. I think they're at home. I think they understand the narratives. I think Josh Allen understands the narratives. And I think, I know that what the Chiefs are going to do defensively, we all know what they're going to do. They're going to utilize Trent McDuffie in man coverage, take him away, stack the box, right? But I think this is a game where Josh Allen wills the team, and I think this is the time where we can maybe take a week off from Mike Bunt critiquing everything Josh Allen's doing and actually enjoy the greatness of Josh Allen. And I think the Bills pull this one out. I think the defense does just enough. I think they force some turnovers. I think Mahomes last week has been a little bit careless against Washington. I think, and they're a great pass rush win rate team. I think this Bills defensive line is going to, make an impact, force some turnovers, some sacks, make Mahomes uncomfortable. And I think the Bills take this one 34-31, book it. Josh Allen is, reasserts himself into the MVP conversation, and the Bills move to 6-2.
Wow, you guys are definitely homers, and that's for sure. So I want to show you guys something. This picture right here. I don't know if you can see it well with the light.
Yes,
that's
Pope.
That's the Pope with the Buffalo Bishop, and if you can see this here, He's
With a
handing
Terrell
him
Shavers jersey.
a number 14 jersey. You can say Shavers. I'm going to say Ryan Fitzpatrick. And the thing is,
Patrick.
why are they giving a Ryan Fitzpatrick jersey to the Pope? And I think it's very clear. It's not because he's the 14th for what he is as the Pope, but it's because even the Pope knows that Josh Allen just doesn't have it anymore, and that Fitzmagic really is the better quarterback in Buffalo. So I'll say this: like, I'm picking the Chiefs. You know, I'm picking the Chiefs. Like, I don't pick the Bills against the Chiefs. I picked the Bills once against the Chiefs in the playoffs, and I regretted it so much because like I bought into it. And here's the thing: the Chiefs are just a better team. Like, I know Bills fans don't want to say it. I say it every year, and then the Chiefs end up being the better team every year. And then in the offseason,
You weren't saying it as much this year.
not as much this year. No, not as much this year. But like every year I say it. And then then the offseason, when we inevitably lose the Chiefs in the playoffs, everybody's like, "Oh my God, we keep losing. Like, what do we have to do?" It's like, no, you're losing to the better team. This team just knows how to win when it matters. Then the draft comes around, and they're like, "We got to get defensive linemen. We need receivers. We need this." And I'm like, it's not going to make a difference. You could draft the next coming of Jesus Christ at linebacker or defensive tackle or defensive.
I don't know if Jesus was good at D tackle, but
he was a good player. Like he had a lot of. He was a 99, unfortunately, not 100. But it's the same conversation. It's like everybody's like, what do the Bills need to do to get past the Chiefs? It's like they need like luck. They need a prayer answered or something like that, because the Chiefs are always fixing their problems every year too. I don't know, like Jake, I like what you said. Like, if the Bills want to have a chance, they probably have to run the ball effectively, sustain longer drives, try to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hand. And if they are going to get stops defensively, they need to get pressured. They'll probably have to create a couple takeaways. This is how it's going to happen. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. The Bills are going to end up winning. They're going to get to 6-2. I'm going to say the Chiefs aren't the same old Chiefs. Then they're going to end up getting like some magical run to get the 3 seed. The Bills will host the Chiefs in the divisional round, and then they're going to lose by like a heartbreaking Tyler Bass missed 31-yard field goal. And like, we already know it's written in stone. So Chiefs 31-21. This is going to be a double-digit win for them.
It's funny, man. It's hard. Like the vibe of the fan base. Like it's like a rock and a hard place. Like you're like, well, like it's hard to get up for these games anymore. But like at the same time, it's like Mahomes, Allen, like two of the greatest of our generation. But like we're on the side of it where like, well, it doesn't matter. They're going to lose in the playoffs either way. But like in reality, like
everybody loves it. Like, yeah,
in reality, like both of these teams really do need the win badly in terms of like the Chiefs have the Broncos and Colts coming up. And
I'll say this: if the Chiefs lose, I think you can then start having a realistic conversation about them being a wild card. If the Chiefs win, if the Chiefs lose, it's going to be a lot to overcome, because I think the Broncos are going to go 12-5 most likely around that.
I think it's the same thing with the Bills and Patriots, though.
No, you obviously could. If the Bills lose to the Chiefs, like with New England probably going to be at 7-2, the Bills would be at 5-3. Like, yeah, you'd be 2.5 games back with New England already winning head-to-head. You know what? It
really matters, man.
You know what? It does matter. But like, you know what? If you got me a wild card, like say the Bills are a 5 seed. Let's be real. If the Bills are a 5 seed and they end up playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round, or I don't know, say Denver Broncos or something, like I wouldn't even care. Like, whatever, beat them and then play Indy. Like whatever.
If the Bills are the 5 seed, the narrative is the team nobody wants to see in the playoffs is the Buffalo Bills. Like, that's what everybody is saying.
The Bills get the 5 seed and they go to the Super Bowl. And then after like going into next year, we'll be like, oh, you don't need the 1 seed. We can win from like any.
We can win from anywhere. To all the people who say this game doesn't matter, I like to win football games. I don't care what the stakes are. Like, go win a football game. We don't want the Bills to. You don't want the Bills to lose a football game. So go win the football game. That's the importance of it. Like, the games are on the schedule. You line them up. You put them down. That's what we got to do. Get the dub. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Bills
That's
lost.
where we're at. Mike Butt is either, no matter what Mike set up where he can pivot right out of it Sunday night at about 7:30. He's already got the tweets loaded up in his drafts one way or the other.
He'll play the game just like he always does.
We know your game, Mike. We've been here with you for too long. We got you locked on. Not everybody else does, but AJ and I know. We know exactly where you're going. We can predict you 3 steps ahead. So we're just on top of it. Just letting you know, I'm just on top of it. I'm ready.
Everybody doubted this team, including myself. But they showed when you rely on James Cook and you take the ball out of your quarterback's hands, you can win big football games. What's the answer to winning?
Then there's one ready that's like Josh Allen. Josh Allen was always going to get back to who he was. It was just a matter of time.
Josh was like a bomb, like late. The Bills were saving that for a big moment this season.
Yeah. They can do it. They can do it.
But like, I'll have one for either way. Like James Cook runs for like a 200 and Josh throws for like 125. I'll be like, you want to win in the playoffs? You got to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands when it matters most.
People so bad.
Oh man. Well, come back next Tuesday to see which narrative Mike Bunt has ran with for 3 days, and that will be dissecting on this show. But we paid the bills. Shout out to our sponsor, Picasso's Pizza. Shout out to Mike Bunt, AJ Cebulski, and Jake, Mike, and myself here. Go Bills! It's Chiefs week. Go Bills! Go get a dub.
Go Bills!
See you next week, guys.